Welcome. Thank you. Welcome to Between Space.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's funny, you've seen this space before we fully
No, absolutely.
finished
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
So welcome back.
Thank you. So shit that.
So tell us about yourself. Who are you? Where are you from?
My name is Onoja. I am a content creator and a writer. I'm Nigerian, born and raised.
How long have you been in the States?
I moved to the state 2010. That's February 8th. So probably like 13 years now.
Wow. I actually was here 2011, so I'm like a year right actually.
That's cool.
We're here for a reason, actually.
Yes.
You wrote a book. Can you tell us more about this?
The book was inspired by the passion of my mom. I think ever since actually brought me to that realization of actually writing this. And me writing it was able to understand what killed my mom. And it sounds a little bit graphic. My intention was like to write a very happy book, but over time it became very dark and strange. This is not really my book. This is an African book. And it's something I see on TV growing up as a kid. And it happened to me, and I feel like I want to bring an awareness to it. Because every single day you see stories like this happening in Nigeria, even Africa as a whole. But we put like a side eye to it, and nobody want to speak about it. So in terms of my mom inspiring this book was a day, 24 hours after her passing. I heard people wanted to share property and wanted to just take everything she owned and everything she had worked for the past 35 years. And for me, it's like it came out of nowhere, and it felt pretty weird to me, but I was like, okay, it's just for me, it's a good time for me to be able to investigate in terms of what has happened so far. So for the past 2-3 years, I was able to investigate in terms of what led to her death and why all those things happened.
Wow, that sounds like quite the journey. Not only to lose your mom, your parent in general, but to have to investigate or look into her passing. And I'm assuming you're insinuating or you're suggesting that it wasn't like a natural passing.
It wasn't. It's a very weird story. I would love people to read it because it's not really my story. It's an African story. It's a woman's story. Just where you see greed from families and to take everything somebody else has worked for.
You did state that you intended initially for it to be a happy book, and it got a little heavier as you went on.
Yes. Yeah. In terms of the happy part of it, it was more about a search for sweeter days. So I was trying to go through that stage of mourning and the grief process. So it was something different for me, and then celebrate motherhood as in mother in general.
Mm-hmm.
But over time, getting to go deeper and investigating from phone calls and documenting everything that's happened. And then it took a total different part.
You mentioned phone calls a few times or investigating. Off camera, I know we spoke about this. You haven't been back home since your mom passed.
Yeah.
So you didn't get to go to the funeral.
No. The only information I got after her death was she did send me a personal message to someone before her passing.
Mm.
So they were able to unfold everything she said, and me not coming back home for a burial. And it was a strange kind of information for my mom to pass to me, and then I got to understand, why don't you want me to come back home? And over time, she was able to go further in terms of me not even moving back home, coming back home at all, getting to understand that why wouldn't you want me to come back, So it led to me actually going to actually still digging to know why, because it sounds strange, just my mom just said never come back. You get, so.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I can't imagine having to have like so many unanswered questions.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of family members outside of your mom that's still in Nigeria?
Yes, I do. I think everybody's back at home.
Okay.
But when I mean back at home, I barely know them. She never introduced me to them, and I think she was trying to hide me away from everyone else.
Okay.
So me coming to America wasn't because I wanted to come here for greener pasture or better my family's life or better my life. I think we're an average family, and I was very contented with being in Nigeria. But while I was now getting into the book understanding, I felt she just wanted me away from all that, not from a physical standpoint, from a spiritual part. So me digging deep into the story brought to me understanding my culture, the African spirituality. I know they call it voodoo and stuff. It led me to actually understand what family I'm from. that's why I felt like she wanted me away from Nigeria for sure.
And have you been in contact with them since your mom passed?
They were part of the reason I actually wrote this book, and me writing it brought a total different insight about them. Stuff that I never knew about. Me getting to uncover every single thing, and it came to light in terms of the greed aspect of even people that I felt like they were close to me.
Have you seen your mom a lot since you've been here in the U.S.? Did you only see your mom in Nigeria when you went back to visit?
Since I've moved here, I've not gone back. So I've been here for 13 years, and I've not gone back home. She came to visit twice. She came in 2016 and 2019. 2019, she left in October, and she passed in February 10. And so a time frame of like 4 months.
February 10th, that was maybe a month before the city shut down.
Yes.
For the pandemic.
Yes, before the pandemic, yes.
You're mourning your mom, but you're dealing with it in a very weird time in the world, like for everyone.
Yeah.
How did you cope?
I think it was difficult. There was no even another way to go around it apart from me just going out and work it out. So I had to just be in my head, and I stepped out and just walk around the city because there was nobody I could call on or even somebody to talk to at the time. I lost my dad when I was younger too as well, so I'm the only one here, being the only child. Who else am I going to call? There was nobody for me to call, so I'm just standing here like a lone wolf. So I'm just trying to figure things out.
You're doing a great job in how you're managing or coping, because to this day I don't know how you made such a beautiful piece of work through such a trying time in the world, while also simultaneously mourning the death of your last parent.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming like your mom was one of the closest people to you.
Yes. I think the only close person to me. Me writing it is like a therapy. Is like most of the things I don't think I've actually even read what's in this book aloud, because writing it I feel uncomfortable, and reading it feels the same way. So it scares me for me even reading it, because I know how he's going to bring me back to where I was. I feel bad to write this book. To be honest, I feel very, very bad, because it's like putting my family business out there. But at the same time, this is not all about me. It's all about everyone and how we see ourselves.
Well, one, thank you for sharing that, for sure, because it's not an easy task to be this vulnerable in front of the public. The whole book is based on like this pain that a lot of people, one, don't know how to face, but you're actively, it's therapeutic, right? So you're actively writing it down, even if you never read it again for yourself, but you sharing these moments with the world. It's a form of therapy for you.
Yeah.
And it helps you in some way, I'm assuming, get closure. Are there any insights you got that you didn't acknowledge before about yourself or about your mom through the process?
Yes. There was a lot I feel like she didn't tell me, and there's a lot I didn't ask her to as well. So it was a difficult experience now finding this story, and she never mentioned any of those to me when it comes to the family I'm from, the level of spirituality they are in, and why am I in America? Why am I here? So there was just a lot of questions to be asked, but there's nobody to answer. She just wanted to protect me from whatever was going to happen. And me losing my mom, I would actually prefer to be back home with my mom for the next 10 years of her life before her passing than being here, because it's like a waste of 10 years. I didn't have no experience with my mom from when I moved here, which was 2010 to 2020. Like it was just an empty blank slate. And I would prefer to be back at home, spending that time with her, knowing that she was going to pass. Saying like coming to America was one of my greatest mistakes ever does not sit well with a lot of people. Like, you kidding me? You've achieved a lot for yourself, and which is great, but the family aspect was missing. I have a huge gap when it comes to the relationship I have with my mom prior to us being on the phone. And even going further to disclose this, I really don't tell people this. 2 days before her passing, she called me, and it was a missed call. I didn't pick up. I was busy in New York running, trying to make a living for myself, and I didn't pick up.
Right.
So she was admitted the next day, I wasn't able to talk to her prior from then in terms of her being in the hospital. And a lot of people take those opportunities for granted. Your parent calling you, but you don't want to pick up, you're busy.
Yeah.
And you don't really know how the outcome is going to be, what's going on at the time, why you're calling, And for me, I just felt like I'm busy, I'm running around, I will call you back.
Yeah.
And that's terrible for me, and I feel like that will actually haunt me for the rest of my life.
That just gave me chills because I often do the same exact thing. I'm like in the middle of something and I'm always like texting my mom back, like, I'll call you in 5 minutes, and then that 5 minutes might turn to 2 days.
2 days. My shit was the same. 2 days. She called me, and now even after her passing, I'm looking at the missed call, 2 missed call. And it's a sad story for me to actually look like, what was she going to tell me?
Yeah.
What was that she was calling me about? I can't figure that out. I don't know how to get a closure to that. So those are stuff that I would actually want people to read about, to actually understand how important it is. Those gaps, those absence, those calls that we actually feel like we're busy doing. It's very important for us to pick those calls because we don't understand what's going on at the time.
Can you tell me more about how your mom inspired you in general?
My mom inspired me in so many ways. When I was a kid, the hard work she put in terms of taking care of me, sending me to school. She did everything by herself. From an artistic point, she draws and paints as well. So there was just that connection between me and her, being a painter growing up as a child. So I think I learned a lot from her. The hard work, the sacrifice she actually made for me was just unbelievable. So it's going to be a difficult journey for me to move from here. And sometimes I just feel like, why am I here? I don't know how long I have here, but at the same time, I'm just going to do the best I can to pursue what she has actually left behind and put me in a better space. I hope she's happy.
I've had the privilege to see the book, not in totality, but it's beautiful.
Thank you.
You have a lot of beautiful photography in the book as well.
Yeah.
You've always been a very fashionable guy. Do you get your sense of style from your mother?
Yeah. I think when dressing up in Nigeria, I think we all have this colorful, bright, dashiki, laces and stuff. I think that's inspired me in so many ways when it comes to colors, and I try to actually have that colors in terms of when it comes to my looks, because with dark skin, I think that actually contrasts well on our skin. So that was just one of the attributes when it comes to like growing up in Nigeria, like that Sunday going to church and stuff.
Sunday's that?
Yeah. I'll actually tell her, oh, there's a certain pieces I need, and she will actually make a custom design and send it down here for me.
Wow.
Just to actually shoot, come up with content, and create. At the same time, she never understood in terms of what that journey was, in terms of what exactly I was doing with those items, or if I was making a living off it. She never knew what it is. Having the artistic family background, actually, that plays a huge role. I never had no plan B as an option. So I went in fashion, and I never thought of if I was going to fail. That wasn't any plan for me, and I was like, I only had plan A, which was like fashion. I just want to create something I enjoy, and I want to be able to inspire other people. She helped out in terms of making that possible.
You mentioned she didn't really understand, but she would send you stuff.
Yes. Growing up in Nigeria, there's just that educational background I set up. You have to be a lawyer, a doctor, or engineer of that nature. When it comes to art, it wasn't something accepted.
Yeah, I mean, I relate to that a lot, because back home, the path of an artist was not really there. You kind of had to do the educational background.
Even thinking about it from the Nigerian standpoint, I think we don't even have that facility to be able to do that. You can never survive doing art, but I think being here gives you that freedom to be able to express yourself and taking that risk. Like if you do it well, there's going to be something that comes out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You're doing it well. The imagery, as I mentioned, is so powerful. It seemed like you curated that in a way to honor your mom's legacy and memory. Can you speak about the imagery and how you also paired that with the rawness of the autobiography?
Yes. I think coming up with a concept was just celebrating motherhood in general, in terms of giving them their flowers while they're still here. But I did not have the opportunity to do that. So now I have to do it on behalf of her, like using this book as that medium to be able to thank her for what she has done. But while doing that, everything took a left turn. And me trying to go through that process, I had to stick with the concept I had prior to, regardless of how dark it was getting over time, every single day, sitting down just to be able to put everything down in paper.
Right.
So, the concept of 4 amazing photographers, it was an amazing experience to shoot them on every detail. Some were shot in California, Savannah, Florida, Philly, a bunch of different places and stuff. So we actually built the concept from the ground up, and it was just an amazing process.
In that process, for such an intimate moment and honoring your mom's death, like, how did you pick the photographers to work with?
I think it's just based on the relationship we had. And it was just an incredible opportunity to have them as a friend.
Right.
And getting to shoot with them without even me saying a word. That was like, I got you. Just by even telling them in terms of what I had in mind, what I was going to do in terms of the project, they actually felt like, if you need anything, let me know. And just by that alone actually just gave me that confidence in terms of how they see me and the relationship we had over the years. And then they were like, they're just going to help me out with the project.
Going forward, how do you plan or hope to honor your mom's legacy in your work or your life?
Let's just keep writing. This is just my first book, and I think I'll definitely keep writing. And it's just to celebrate motherhood as a whole and life.
You mentioned that you're going to keep writing. What are your next steps?
I'm coming up with my second book, which I don't really know what the title is, but I actually have an idea of what direction I'm going towards. But it's going to be an exciting one, and I'm getting to share in terms of the struggle, like growing up in America.
And where can people find this book? Where can they purchase it? Or you have pre-orders open right now, right?
Yes, I do. You can get this on stevenonoja.shop. So that's where you could actually pre-order. And I'm going to actually put it on Amazon within the next few weeks.
It's beautiful, man. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us here at Between Space. From my heart to yours, you do have a family, and you're not alone. If you ever need to talk, create, you know how to find us.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. I'll actually give you a hug. This shit was fucking beautiful, bro.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning into yet another episode of Holding Space. If you want to see more, like and subscribe, and we'll continue to hold space. Thank you for watching.